A man dressed in shabby and torn clothes was entering the capital city. When the guards checked his identity, it turned out that he was Russell Raymond, a member of the founding noble family. But after the patriarch of the family passed away in the war against the empire, the family lost all its wealth and territories. And regaining the territories was an impossible dream for Russell. He was expelled from the academy before he even applied for the magic tower. He failed 3 tests in the academy because of his sickness. His sickness was called mana vein narrowing. Because of this sickness, he couldn't even rank up to the 3rd circle and was barely able to achieve the 2nd circle. He became a mercenary due to poverty. He visited the capital because the White Tower was looking for mercenaries. And after waiting all day he couldn't get any work. After hearing the museum was looking for weak mages for cleaning, he had to swallow his pride and go there. As he visited the museum, his mother's ring started to vibrate, which led him to the ancient dragon's heart. Then as soon as he put on the ring, he saw the divine dragon. It chose Russell as the cornerstone of a new mythology and gave him a second chance. Everything went dark, and when he woke up he found himself being hit in the head by his academy teacher. After seeing Professor Hubert and his classmates, he realized that he had returned to the past. After the class period ended, Professor Hubert told him to visit his office during lunch. As soon as the professor left, his class bullies approached him and dragged him to the bathroom. Suddenly a blue window appeared before him. It gave him a mission to teach the bullies a lesson. Russell was a mercenary in his past life, and compared to the killing intent he received from the monsters, these kids were on a cute level. So Russell decided to teach them a lesson and beat the shit out of them. After that, the blue window appeared before him once again, and for completing the mission it rewarded him with a lowest grade magic stone. As he consumed the stone, his magic power increased, and he realized that with this method he could overcome his mana vein narrowing. The fall of his family, the expulsion from the academy, and being a third-rate mercenary mage, he could change all of that. During lunchtime he went to Professor Hubert's office. The professor was a caring man, but also very strict. As punishment for sleeping in class he gave him an assignment that even the seniors struggle with. At that moment the blue window appeared and gave him a mission. This time it told him to complete Hubert's assignment. For him, the assignment wasn't difficult at all, because in his previous life, to make up for his lack of talent, he studied really hard. Even as a mercenary, he didn't stop studying. He completed the assignment quickly and started training his 2 secret techniques. As he was working as a mercenary he accidentally stumbled upon 2 grimoires. The first grimoire was Over Vein, which trains the physical body and increases the mana vein. Then the second was the Wizard Body, which increases his magic, based on physical workouts. Russell trained with these 2 techniques until he collapsed from exhaustion. As he was training, a man was observing him and said that his attempts were futile. The next day, Russell submitted his assignment to Professor Hubert. The professor was very satisfied and told him to take his leave. Then Russell asked for a favor. He wanted to use the teacher's library as he had already read everything in the student's library. Hearing that, Hubert gave him a chance. He would allow him entry as long as he completes all his tests and proves his qualifications. Then time passed by and Russell completed a large number of Hubert's assignments. He was scorned by his bullies and he trained with the secret techniques. Finally, it was time to break through to 2nd circle. Russell used all the low-ranked magic stones he had to attempt this and successfully ranked up to the 2nd circle. The next day Hubert asked him one final question. It was a question that even he had only recently figured out. Opposite to his expectations, Russell splendidly answered the question. Hearing that, Hubert told him that the student library was too small of a world for him and allowed him entry into the teacher's library. The blue window rewarded him with 2 low-grade magic stones for this achievement. As he entered the library he thought that it was very impressive. He picked books about the magic 3-dimensional ballistic trajectory and intensive magic botany. The books were very practical, and as he was immersed in reading, a woman in white clothing approached him. Her name was Daria White, the Flame Tower Master. She is an 8th circle mage, one of the strongest mages in the world, and despite being in her 80s she maintained her youthful appearance with her magic. She complimented Russell after seeing his pure mana, although she had no idea that he was related to the divine dragon. After that, she left and Russell decided to leave the library as well. When he stepped foot outside, his class bully saw him and thought he kissed some professor's ass to get into the teacher's library and made fun of him. The next day it was time for the practical battle class. In this class, the students face each other as they would in a real battle. The professor called for Anton, the class bully, into the stadium. His family bribed the professor. Anton chose Russell Raymond as his opponent, and soon after he came to regret that decision. The day before that day, Daria White visited Hubert. Turns out he is her disciple. She informed him that Russell overcame his sickness and ranked up to the second circle. It shocked Hubert. Going back to the practical battle class, Anton told him to beg, and Russell provoked Anton by showing him second circle magic. Anton cast his flame throw spell, but Russell blocked it with his magic shield. The students and teacher were surprised to see Russell's growth. Then Russell attacked with his flame arrow spell. This time Anton blocked it with his shield. Russell didn't give him room to breathe and attacked with fire arrows repeatedly. Anton then changed his shield to fire-resistant shield, thinking it was a good idea. But Russell was waiting for that. He cancelled his fire arrow spell and attacked with a wind arrow, which broke his shield and left Anton defenseless. Russell took this opportunity to close the distance and beat him blue. At that point, Anton faints, and the teachers announce him as the victor. But Russell was not satisfied yet, because according to the rules, as long as they don't surrender, the victor can challenge as many people as they want. He then challenged all the people that bullied him in the past. After that, the blue window rewarded him with low-ranked magic stones, spatial storage magic, and a mysterious map. The blue window advised him to try to find the place marked on the map and only attempt to do it after reaching the third circle. Russell looked through tens of books, but no matter how much he searched, he couldn't find the marked location. Then Hubert called him to his office. He asked Russell if he had plans for the summer vacation, and if he was free, he should help him with his research. When Russell looked down at the table, he saw a magazine, and the location in the magazine matched with the mysterious map. So he told Professor Hubert that he had plans to visit the location in the magazine. It was Maldiva. It's a sunny city close to the sea and the beach. Russell headed toward Maldiva in a carriage, not knowing that it is also the hometown of Daria White. As he had nothing to do in the carriage, he practiced his magic and managed to rank up to the third circle. After arriving in Maldiva, he filled his belly and started looking for the marked location. He followed a local tour guide into the mountains. After some time, he separated from the group and started to search on his own. Finally, he found the location. The entrance was behind a waterfall. Suddenly a light emerged from the map and started to guide him. Inside the dungeon it was dark and there were no monsters. Soon he realized that if there are no other monsters around, it meant that a strong predator lived in that area. Suddenly a giant lizard attacked him, which was called the Komodo lizard. Russell attacked the lizard with a lightning arrow and paralyzed it temporarily. Then he went straight to the gate. The golems that were guarding the gate stopped him and told him to prove his worth with his mana. At that point, he was out of options, so he decided to blow up the gate with his magic. He mustered all his strength into a firebolt. Witnessing his mana, both the lizard and the golems bowed to him. The gate opened and suddenly he was teleported into a room with icy floors. This time a red window appeared and gave him a mission. It was the trial of fire, and his task was to slay all the ice golems. There were tens of ice golems in the room. Russell attacked with various kinds of spells, but he could only use fire-type spells in that room. He was surrounded by the golems in no time. But he kept casting fire arrows and killed a few golems. However, he realized that at that rate he would run out of mana before slaying the golems. So he came up with an idea with a slim chance. He fused multiple fire arrows and created new magic. It killed a golem in one hit. It's called Blaze Lance. Russell could feel power close to the fifth circle from it, but on the flip side, it consumes an enormous amount of mana to maintain. So Russell decided to end the fight as soon as possible. After a quick bout, almost all the golems were slain, but the last golem attacks him from his blind spot. Russell was nearly out of mana and in a desperate attempt throws the blaze lance at the golem. Fortunately for him, it made a huge hole in the golem, and he succeeded in his mission. Russell fainted and saw a dream. He was chained, and his reward was the ancient divine dragon's horn. A voice told him to use that power, but he couldn't hear anything more. When he woke up, he found himself on the Maldiva beach. Russell was surprised to see how strong his magic had become because of the reward, and then Daria White approached him. She was surprised to see Russell's growth, as he had almost reached the fourth circle and his mana had become purer than the last time they met. In order to test him, Daria asks him for a favor. Maldiva forbids slave trading, but every now and then pirates illegally land their ships near Maldiva and trade slaves. So their mission is to slay the pirates and rescue the slaves. After some thinking, Russell figured out that Daria could do this on her own, as she was an eighth circle, but the fact that she asked for help means that she was testing him. Daraya told him that she would draw attention above and that he should rescue the slave inside. She flew high above the ship and started to prepare her magic. The pirates threw their weapons but they couldn't reach her. Daraya was angry as those fools invaded her hometown and cast her magic on the ship. The magic was called Dwarf of Burning Wood. It created little soldiers of fire that could bring down an entire castle. As the pirates were being slaughtered by the dwarfs, Russell sneaked inside to rescue the slaves. The pirate that was guarding the slaves was quickly electrocuted with Russell's lightning magic. After that more pirates came, but he defeated them easily. As he was looking at the slaves he came across a cell that contained elves. At first, the elves were rude to him and he didn't like their tone. Then a beautiful elf that was sitting in the back told the rest to mind their manners. Her name was Ilo, and she said that she could smell the scent of spirits from Russell. After hearing that he had the scent of spirits on him, the elves were suddenly very polite to him. Russell was surprised as the arrogant elf's behavior changed from just one sentence from Ilo. So she was probably a high elf or something more advanced. At that point, the captain and vice-captain of the ship started to make their moves. The captain confronted Daraya. Seeing as he could use aura, she concluded that the captain was probably a knight in the past. The captain told her that the small salary of a knight wasn't worth it, so he and his brother do slave trading and earn much more. At the same time, the vice-captain attacked Russell. Thankfully he blocked the attack with his shield. Ilo the high elf warned Russell to be careful and that the man in front of them was the vice-captain. Russell was worried he might burn the ship, so he refrained from using fire magic and cast a lightning bolt at him. But unfortunately for him, the vice-captain's sword was a non-conductor, which repelled the lightning and he slashed Russell's shield, injuring him in the process. The fight between the captain and Daraya was still going on. The captain easily slayed the dwarfs of Burning Wood and when it seemed like he had an edge, Daraya cast a stronger spell, Dwarf of Hellfire. These soldiers are different, every time you slice them they multiply. After seeing that spell he finally realized that the woman in front of him was the master of the Flame Tower. Now back to Russell's fight. He barely managed to survive after the attack from the vice-captain. At that moment he recalled that in his mercenary days, he once met a psychotic knight and the one who stopped him was a mage and the method he used was to use one shield on top of another. The vice-captain couldn't break the double-layered shield and Russell attacked him with a wind arrow, which sent him flying. The slaves took this opportunity to escape, but the vice-captain wasn't out yet. He attacked Russell more violently, not giving him a chance to use magic. The vice-captain thought he had him cornered, but when the slaves escaped Russell was finally free to use fire magic. The atmosphere around Russell changed, and the vice-captain took a step back. Then he ran toward him for the final attack and Russell also prepared his final attack, the Blaze Lance. The clash from the Blaze Lance made a huge explosion and incinerated not only the vice-captain but also his brother that was above the ship was defeated. The exhaustion from losing too much blood made Russell faint. On the other hand, Daraya was surprised to see him wield such powerful magic. She immediately took charge and wiped out the rest of the pirates. A while later Russell woke up and found himself being healed by the elf's magic. Daraya explained to him that he defeated both the Knight brothers and the elf expressed her gratitude towards him. She told him that she was Ilo, from the White Ash tribe, and she swore on the honor of her founding fathers to repay him one day. To that, he replied that his name was Russell Raymond and he just did what he should do as a mage. And that is all for now. Find out more about this series in the next recap video. Also, let us know in the comments the manhwa or manga you want us to recap next.